most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of June 2022 and 30th of September 2022 is under 3 minutes. Excludes all time.
Y'all ready for something new? Oh, you thought it was just burgers and fries. They got more flavors than you tasted or you heard in your life. Yummy. It ain't only restaurants anymore. We can go bananas at the grocery store. I'm a bad girl for my takeout back. What you need, dude? I could cop a taco platter. And my sushi trainers on food. When you this slick, what you gon' do? Did somebody say just eat?
It's getting cold out, but Screwfix hot deals are on, and you can save big on trade essentials, like 10-litre Leyland trade contract matte paint, now 2 for just £28. Time for a drill upgrade. Pick up the DeWalt brushless cordless combi drill for just £149.99, saving you £50. Shop hot deals now on the app at screwfix.com or in store. Price is valid until early 7th of January, subject to availability. All T's and C's, see screwfix.com.
Talk about a blast from the past. The 1990s, when McDonald's started using 100% British and Irish beef in our burgers. Back when you actually had to leave the house and head to the arcade if you wanted to play a game with your mates. What a time. It's just one of the little changes McDonald's have been constantly making to the way we source and produce our food over the years. McDonald's. Change a little, change a lot.
In sport, what's just as important as the goals, the glory, the roar of the crowd? It's the half-time break. Time for a breather, a reset, to keep everything on track. In sports betting, Betfair's safer gambling tools help you do that too, like timeouts, so you take that all-important half-time break, or deposit limits to help you keep count. Manage your play at safergambling.betfair.com. Simple ways to stay on top of your game with Betfair.
18 plus begambleaware.org.
Game day exclusive on TalkSport with Tab. Stream all the Sky Sports action like Aston Villa versus Arsenal live today for £11.99. No contract. Search now Sports 18 plus through their internet. Terms apply.
TalkSport traffic.
Queuing on the northbound side of the M6 in Cheshire between junction 17 for Sandwich and Crewe and junction 18 for Middlewich, where a broken down car towing a trailer is blocking the lane. In Kent, the anti-clockwise side of the M25 is looking very busy coming from junction 4 and Orpington towards junction 3 for the M20. It was closed earlier because of an accident. It's going both ways on the M25 approaching junction 10 and the A3 because of roadworks, and nothing's moving southbound on the M23 between junctions 10 and 10A in Crawley because of an accident. I'm Michael Page.
Monday night,
League One live.
on TalkSport 2.
High-intensity, expressive football.
Oh, that's magnificent!
Portsmouth versus Bolton Wanderers. Doors open at 6 p.m. Proceedings begin at 8. Monday night on TalkSport 2.
It's a sensational goal!
Football, we now take it out.
The fact is the fans have been spoiled here in recent times. They're used to seeing us do very well at home and get good results, and this year we've not been able to do that. They've come here today, of course, thinking after a good point against West Ham that we would run all over and blow Bournemouth away, but unfortunately they're false expectations.
They've been in the Premier League for 10, 11 years. They want to see their football club kick on. And for Roy to suggest that they've been spoiled because of the fact that once upon a time, 50, 60 years ago, Crystal Palace played in Division 3 South, and Roy grew up in Croydon supporting them, and that now that should mean that people have some temperance to bad performances, is, I think, ill-judged on his part.
I'm a bit distressed by it, really. Certainly distressed by my comments and choice of words, which I bitterly regret. I mean, we've spoiled the fans in recent years. I don't think we have. I think the fans have been very patient. They've been fantastic behind the scenes and during this bad spell.
Simon Jordan back with Jim White from 10 a.m. on Monday morning. This is Game Day exclusive on TalkSport. Baker Others, can't even say my own name. Baker Others, with you. Who are you? I am Baker Others, hi there. I'm alongside TalkSport's chief football commentator, Sam Matterface, and former Charlton and Chelsea defender, Scott Minto. And actually, it was my interview with Amazon Prime the other night with Roy Hodgson that he made those comments in. And I can see, I don't know, I don't think he wants to know, to be honest. I think he was quite annoyed with
director, Geordie, said to me, well, not coming out after matches and justifying myself to you.
Yeah. Listen, you don't get to the age of 76 with the experience that you've had and not come off of a football pitch when you've lost and been disappointed. And I do think that the newer managers nowadays are able to kind of keep those emotions in check more so. Take Mikel Arteta out of that equation. But, you know, certainly it affects Roy. You know, it does. And it's really difficult having a microphone shoved in your face when you've just come off having been booed, when you know that your players have made the effort. But, you know, really, from a Palace kind of perspective, should they be expecting more from Roy Hodgson? And is he realistically going to be in this job for much longer, Scott?
I don't think he'll be in this job beyond this season. The question is when, not if. It was only given a one-year contract in the first place, so it was just a tick along. And we mentioned it earlier about perhaps Steve Parish is looking about, you know, really the stand and the stadium and trying to, you know, the money invested towards that. Not a lot of money was spent in the summer. You know, Jefferson Lerma was a free transfer. Mateus Franca was £15 million, but he's only 19 years of age, and you know he hasn't played many minutes yet. Dean Henderson got injured in his almost first game in charge in goal, and is still injured as well. And then there's Rob Holding, where you know that fee was undisclosed. That's not a lot of money. And then you talk about Will Sahar's gone. Eze and Olise injured at different times. You know, I do feel for Roy, but the bottom line is we know what Roy is like. He's a pragmatic manager. His style of play is let's keep ourselves solid, and if we can nick it down the other end, we'll try and get it. He also hasn't got prolific strikers, but then there's a lot of players, a lot of teams around the country that haven't got that either. I think it's not an easy job when the Palace fans are expecting a little bit more and there's not a lot of money spent. But the bottom line is he needs to find a way to do something better, because the next three games, Liverpool, Man City and Brighton,
and then Chelsea.
Well, he might pick up a win now, unfortunately. Don't talk about Chelsea.
No, even you're turning now.
No, you know my love for Chelsea and the clubs that I play for. But Liverpool, City and Brighton, obviously Palace, Brighton, that rivalry there. It could be interesting if things don't go well.
Defending the key thing, and that's something Scott highlighted there, and that's something they've had a problem with. They just don't keep the clean sheets that they used to. They do look penetrable. You know, West Ham scored against them, Bournemouth scored twice against them, Luton scored twice against them, Everton got 3 here. You know, and bearing in mind the problems that Everton have had in front of goal, that's quite surprising, really. Yeah, they kept a clean sheet away at Burnley, but you know, Newcastle scored 4 against them. United got 3 against them in the cup in a game that I was at. The clean sheets have been few and far between, and really that's the bedrock of any Roy Hodgson team.
Can you understand why he's set up this way today in that reason? I know there are reasons Michael Olise is on the bench. Obviously, he's got to avoid another injury. That's key coming into this important run of fixtures. But is it maybe too defensive? Would a more progressive coach have a bit more of a go at Liverpool today?
It's very easy to say that, isn't it?
Of course it is up here.
We can sit here and say, why don't you go for it against the Liverpool side that are going for the title, and actually have perhaps overachieved, or not overachieved, but doing better than expected, considering their captain, vice-captain and midfield was gutted in the summer. Look, again, you know, don't forget, check the Corey's out for the season as well, and I've been told it's not as if there's a plethora of great youngsters coming through, so he can say, right, go out there and look what I'm doing, I'm building for the future. Very easy for us to sit up here and say you should be going for it a bit more. Just talk about Tyreek Mitchell, a player who I really like in the position I used to play in. I think he's a great talent and could be an England international in the future, but you know, Nathaniel Klein is in there as well. Joel Ward, who's been fantastic for Crystal Palace, but you know, you would think that he could be got at defensively. I think the 2 centre-halves, Anderson and Gay, are going to be absolutely key here, I really do. And then Richards and Lerma sitting in front. Lerma I actually thought was arguably Palace's best player midweek, but he's going to have to do a job defensively. Doesn't mean to say they sit back and just try and defend completely, but they need to attack at the right times. But it's a tough gig today.
Yeah, it really is. Roy Hodgson has said we have to keep the faith in the team. Our form is bad news, but you can't change it with words. You have to change it with the right attitude. And Nathaniel Klein's certainly going to have the right attitude, because he's up against Mo Salah. Sam could get, we've been saying this for a few weeks now though, haven't we, could get his 200th goal for Liverpool today.
Could do, and if he will happen at some stage, and when it does happen, he will join a pantheon of greats, because there's not many people that have done that. He'll be just the 5th player in Liverpool history to reach that number. He's a supreme talent, and you know, he's survived when the others have sort of gone off to do other things. Firmino and Mane have gone off elsewhere, and clearly haven't obviously stayed in top level football. He has, and he's only 31 years of age. He's still got hopefully a couple of good years at the top of the game yet, despite the significant interest, I'm sure, from other people, but hopefully he stays with Liverpool and continues to lead them on to the next stage. I think they've done a really good job this season in going from a team that were off the pace by quite some way last year, and they've recalibrated themselves, and now they've got a real chance. They've got a real chance of winning this title this year, and I think that Jurgen Klopp has started to realise that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have started to realise it. You said it pre-season. I give you total credit for that. By the way, 247 Premier League appearances when he steps onto the field today, Mo Salah, and he could score his 150th Premier League goal as well. And he's been so key to Liverpool over the seasons, but they could win the Premier League this season, as Sam says. It's going to be tough, though. They've got a tough run of fixtures coming up over the festive break. The final group stage match in the Europa League, but then Manchester United and West Ham in the EFL Cup quarter-final, followed by Arsenal pre-Christmas as well.
What?
It is exciting.
Or what?
I am
Going to the
excited.
Liverpool game next week, Manchester United. Brilliant. We've got the Liverpool-West Ham game live on TalkSport before the Christmas break as well. It's a crucial period, isn't it?
I love this period of the season. I know the players don't necessarily.
Are we being spoiled?
We are being spoiled. Let's hope we get
We're
spoiled
allowed
today.
to say it.
Yes, we are allowed to say it up here, that's for sure. The players are in the tunnel. The Crystal Palace fans, the Crystal Palace players coming out of their own tunnel, and a porter cabin over on the far side for the Liverpool players to walk out of. Substitutes making their way onto the benches as we start. The atmosphere at Selhurst Park, decent. Don't forget, Crystal Palace booed off at half-time and full-time here in that defeat to Bournemouth on Tuesday night, but the fans seem in good spirits today. They know that this game is going to be a tough one for their side, but they will get behind their side, as they always tend to do. The players about to be introduced onto the pitch for this massive game. Quick final thoughts from you, Scott. How do you see it playing out?
I think if Palace, you try and go for it first 10-15 minutes, see where Liverpool are mentally and physically, and then I think Liverpool are going to take a grip of the game. I expect a reasonably comfortable in the end Liverpool win, but it's down to Palace to try, especially with the fans that turn up, and it's not a full Selhurst Park, but I expect them to give them their all.
Not yet, still raining. They're covering themselves before they brave it out here. The December fixtures keep coming thick and fast, and the Premier League takes no prisoners this time of year. As you know, as we heard, boos rang out at Selhurst Park on Wednesday night after defeat to Bournemouth. Can the home fans back their team to cause an upset against a Liverpool side pushing to go top of the Premier League? A muted reception from Selhurst Park for their players. They're going to need to get behind them today. Let's sit back, find out if they can do it, and enjoy in the company of former Chelsea and Charlton defender Scott Minto, alongside TalkSport's chief football commentator, Dan Matterface.
Well, I'm not sure they are glad all over, but they'll certainly get behind their team today. And as Christmas draws near, the desire to be at home grows ever more pressing. Near to those closest to you, comforted by all that you find familiar. Unless, like Crystal Palace, home is not very comforting at all. When Roy Hodgson's men lost to Bournemouth on Wednesday night, it was their third straight defeat here, their fifth loss in 7 games in total. The ultras are restless, there's frustration, even amongst the most forgiving of Crystal Palace supporters. Roy Hodgson brushed it off. Injuries, misfortune, budget, all mitigating factors, but you can't help the feeling of drift. Liverpool, well, they feel like they're powering through, getting all the jobs done, sometimes urgently, sometimes desperately, just in time, sometimes with just enough effort. Only twice have they been defeated all season, and both times have happened whilst away from their imperious, impenetrable home. Correct that, smooth over those little bumps in the road, and they will convince even the sceptics that they can challenge for this title. Win this lunchtime, and they will be top before Arsenal go to Aston Villa. And Scott Minto, you'd expect them to win today, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would. The way that these two sides are in very contrasting form. Palace just 1 win and 8. Liverpool unbeaten in that time. They've won 5, drawn 3. And I think, yeah, absolutely, Jurgen Klopp not that long ago said, I don't know what this team is capable of. I I think you're right. I think he's beginning to believe that they can do it with City just a little bit off the pace at the moment. But I've said to you before on several occasions, Sam, this is the time before Christmas, before January, before February, where City will still be a little bit off it. Their minds will sharpen once you get into March. Somebody, I believe, needs to take a 5 or 6 point lead by that time. Liverpool certainly look like they could be one of those alongside Arsenal as well.
Today they have to be a Crystal Palace team that's made 2 changes from the midweek defeat to Bournemouth. Sam Johnson is the goalkeeper. Joe Ward is the right back. Anderson, Gay and Klein make up the back 4. Jefferson, Lerma and Chris Richards will hold in midfield, with Will Hughes just behind an attacking trio of Ayew and Schlupp on the flanks, who will come back and help out in midfield, and Edouard leading the line. Alisson is the Liverpool goalkeeper, back from injury. Trent Alexander-Arnold plays at right back but will wander into midfield. Van Dijk, Kwanzaa and Tsimikas are the back 4. In midfield is Ryan Gravenberch, Wataru Endo and Dominic Szoboszlai. Mo Salah and Luis Diaz flank Darwin Nunez, who Chris Wilder believes shouldn't be available today because he thinks he should have been sent off for a second bookable offence just before he provided a wonderful assist for Dominic Szoboszlai at the end of that Sheffield United victory in midweek.
Yeah, I had a quick word with Chris this morning, actually. He's a good friend of mine, and he said a similar thing. But I personally don't think it was a yellow card. I think it was one of those where it wasn't going to get overturned whatever way the referee decision made. I do think he's probably right in the sense that the big boys get certain decisions. If it was the other way round, it may have been seen as a foul. But this is Liverpool, and they're certainly playing well at the moment.
Sunday session comes live from Spurs tomorrow. Takes you round the grounds in the Premier League, the WSL, the cricket and beyond from 1:30 tomorrow. We've got commentaries Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night and Friday night next week. Saturday too. Wolves Forest is later, and we are round the grounds with Adrian Durham from 2:30 this afternoon. But we're underway live from Selhurst Park on TalkSport, with Liverpool attacking the goal away to our right-hand side, the Holmesdale Road end, in those quartered green and white shirts, black socks and black shorts and white socks, and those halved blue and red jerseys of Crystal Palace attacking the White Horse Lane end away to our left-hand side. Our referee today is Andy Madley, and he's patrolling the middle of the pitch, all in black today, and the ball all the way back to the left-hand side. And Alisson, the goalkeeper, will build through the middle out to Van Dijk, who is playing on the left of the defence rather than the right, which is his preferred position. It does mean that Jarell Quansah may have to do some extra covering with Trent Alexander-Arnold's propensity to wander into midfield. But one might argue there's not as much to defend against with Crystal Palace, with respect, than there would be with other opponents.
No, but that's what Rory Hodgson would have wanted. We know about how good, and we talked about it, how good Trent is going forward, but he does vacate a space.
Schlupp, who's playing on the left-hand side, tries to nudge it forward, and Quansah gets it away. Brown bounces in midfield. Richards doesn't hold on to it, and it breaks to Diaz, who moves just left side of the centre circle, is smothered by Joel Ward and Jordan Ayew, and it's going to be a free kick just left of the centre circle to Liverpool after a minute and a half, and it's 0-0.
So it is a big game for Quansah. That there's no doubt, because that's something which Crystal Palace will absolutely 100% try and look at. When Trent is on the ball and he's lost it, can we exploit there? Virgil van Dijk is pretty much back to how he was before his injury, so I'm really surprised he's not playing on the right-hand side.
Yeah, Quansah, who started against Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League, a game that they won. Actually, he didn't do too badly in that game. He's an England under-20 international as well. Tall and lean and elegant central defender who has been at the club since the age of 5. He sends the ball forward. Salah picks it up, plays it infield. It comes to Alexander-Arnold, who's trying to bundle his way into a congested midfield. On the edge of the D, Tsimikas will strike from distance, but he's never scored for Liverpool, so it's no surprise that ball whistles past the post and goes out for a goal kick.
I thought you were going to say typical left back there, Sam, but
I don't insult left backs.
Oh no, you were left back.
I was one.
Yeah, yes, of course you were. Yeah.
I have pointed out to you that it seems to be a position that most people can play.
I'll tell you why it's an underrated position.
That was because of Bernardo Silva, though, playing that position last season.
Absolutely, and then what happened? Pep realised he couldn't play in that position.
To buy one, yeah.
Fullback is an underrated position purely because you're stopping very much the very good players from the opposition.
I noticed I had the confidence to say that with you, and never to Stuart Pearce.
I don't know how to take that now.
It's Szoboszlai out towards this near side. Alexander-Arnold swings a pass from right side out to the left. Tsimikas Lucas brings it down, moves up to the edge of the penalty area, cuts infield. He's about 6 yards back from the edge of the Palace penalty area, switches it to Endo, who swings the play out to the right. Alexander-Arnold on the volley, thumps in against the former Liverpool fullback Nathaniel Klein. It bounces out of play and away for a throw-in down by the corner flag, away to our right. 0-0 the score, 3 minutes gone. Liverpool's only Premier League defeat came away on a day when fortune deserted them. And that was at Tottenham. Here is Alexander-Arnold, hoping that it doesn't happen again. His ball infield towards Nunez is cut out by Richard, and it's cleared out on this near side. There are 2 players sent off that day, and a goal wrongly disallowed, you may remember. They expect to come here and flex their muscles once again, especially against a Palace team that are in such poor form at this moment in time. But Endo's been dispossessed by Hughes, and then Edouard has been sent through the middle, but Virgil van Dijk, barely getting out of a jog, manages to position himself well enough to nudge that back to Alisson, and Liverpool have possession again.
That's what they're going to look to try and do, though, Crystal Palace. Win the ball back and quickly counter, but it was a poor ball. As I say, Van Dijk is almost very close to the form he was before he got injured, where he was probably the best centre-back in the world. You've got to give the striker a bit of a chance.
Oh, it's interesting. Young Klopp called him exactly that yesterday during the press conference to preview this game. He said he is the best there is. I don't think that the Crystal Palace fans feel that about their team at this moment in time, but it did start brightly once Roy Hodgson came back and replaced Patrick Vieira. But sometimes when you rekindle a relationship, it can seem bright at first, but can quickly go back to a slump.
You're speaking from personal experience.
Not at all, Scott, no. Crystal Palace are in a spell where they've been reminded why they let Roy Hodgson walk out of the door in the first place. They aren't ungrateful, but some of them are just left thinking, you know, there might be more out there. The ball is sent forward up towards the edge of the D. It's cleared away up to halfway, and Luis Diaz. It's cleared by Klein, who looks to stop Liverpool coming further forward. And then it's with Lerma in midfield, and Palace look to build. Down the right it goes with Joel Ward, who chips it into the right wing position, but I think it went straight out of play actually, and goes out for a throw in deep inside Liverpool territory. 0-0.
Yeah, it was a poor ball from Ward there, wasn't it? Even if it had stayed on the pitch, Virgil van Dijk had dropped off, and there's no way that Edouard could have done anything with it. And look, it's really important.
2, because sport never stops. We're sorry, this commentary is not available in your country. Please visit talksport.com/commentaries to hear an alternative stream, or listen to TalkSport 2 for even more live sport. TalkSport has so much sport, we're running out of radio to play it. In fact, we've got enough rugby, cricket, horse racing, boxing, motor racing and golf for an entire other radio station.
And the thrilling days continue.
The prodigal son of all radio stations is on the air. TalkSport 2, because sport never stops.
There ain't no stopping it now.
Get set for more live sport, more incisive pundit comment and opinion, and more Andrew McKenna.
Thank you very much. That'll do.
Sport radio that hits you for 6. TalkSport 2.
Well, that's my ball, and he's got him. He's dragged it back onto the stumps.
Hard tackling live Super League action.
Strong and hard and made of steel.
Live commentary of the UEFA Champions League.
Champions of Europe again.
Live Aviva Premiership Rugby.
They must surely score.
Golf coverage that's perfectly pitched.
We're not allowed to cry on radio. We're supposed to be tough.
Serving up live ATP Masters Series tennis.
And Andy Murray, with his head in his hands, goes to congratulate Novak Djokovic.
I'm so happy. TalkSport 2. Live international football.
What's a goal?
Get in the ring. Go the distance. TalkSport 2.
And Fury's got it. A unanimous decision.
If you can kick it,
Hit it.
roll it,
Pass it. Pass it. Pass it.
catch it.
Catch it.
You'll find it right here on TalkSport 2. The prodigal son of all radio stations is on the air.
Can they make it too?
TalkSport 2, because sport never stops. We're sorry, this commentary is not available in your country. Please visit talksport.com/commentaries to hear an alternative stream, or listen to TalkSport 2 for even more live sport. TalkSport has so much sport, we're running out of radio to play it. In fact, we've got enough rugby, cricket, horse racing, boxing, motor racing and golf for an entire other radio station.
And the thrilling days continue.
The prodigal son of all radio stations is on the air. Talk Sport 2, because sport never stops.
There ain't no stopping them now.
Get set for more live sport, more incisive pundit comment and opinion, and more Andrew McKenna.
Thank you very much. That'll do.
Sport radio that hits you for 6. Talk Sport 2.
Ball into a ball and he's ball him. He's dragged it back onto the stumps.
Hard tackling live Super League action.
Strong and hard and made of steel.
Live commentary of the UEFA Champions League.
Champions of Europe again.
Live Aviva Premiership Rugby.
They must surely score.
Golf coverage that's perfectly pitched.
We're not allowed to cry on radio. We're supposed to be tough.
Serving up live ATP Masters Series tennis.
And Andy Murray, with his head in his hands, goes to congratulate Novak Djokovic.
I'm so happy. Talk Sport 2. Live international football.
What a goal!
Get in the ring. Go the distance. Talk Sport 2.
And Fury's got it. A unanimous decision.
If you can kick it,
Hit it.
roll it,
Pass it. Hot it. Hot it.
or catch it.
You'll find it right here on Talk Sport 2.
The prodigal son of all radio stations is on the air.
Can they make it too?
Talk Sport 2, because sport never stops. We're sorry, this commentary is not available in your country. Please visit talksport.com/commentaries to hear an alternative stream or listen to TalkSport 2 for even more live sport. TalkSport has so much sport, we're running out of radio to play it. In fact, we've got enough rugby, cricket, horse racing, boxing, motor racing and golf for an entire other radio station.
And the thrilling games continue.
The prodigal son of all radio stations is on the air. Talk Sport 2, because sport never stops.
There ain't no stopping them now.
Get set for more live sport, more incisive pundit comment and opinion, and more Andrew McKenna.
Thank you very much. That'll do.
Sport radio that hits you for 6. Talk Sport 2.
Ball into a ball and he's ball him. He's dragged it back onto the stumps.
Hard tackling live Super League action.
Strong and hard and made of steel.
Live commentary of the UEFA Champions League.
Champions of Europe again.
Live Aviva Premiership Rugby.
They must surely score.
Golf coverage that's perfectly pitched.
We're not allowed to cry on radio. We're supposed to be tough.
Serving up live ATP Masters Series tennis.
And Andy Murray, with his head in his hands, goes to congratulate Novak Djokovic.
I'm so happy. Talk Sport 2. Live international football.
What a goal!
Get in the ring. Go the distance. Talk Sport 2.
And Fury's got it. A unanimous decision.
If you can kick it,
Hit it.
roll it,
Pass it. Hot it. Hot it.
or catch it.
You'll find it right here on Talk Sport 2.
The prodigal son of all radio stations is on the air.
Can they make it too?
Talk Sport 2, because sport never stops. We're sorry, this commentary is not available in your country. Please visit talksport.com/commentaries to hear an alternative stream or listen to TalkSport 2 for even more live sport. TalkSport has so much sport, we're running out of radio to play it. In fact, we've got enough rugby, cricket, horse racing, boxing, motor racing and golf for an entire other radio station.
And the thrilling games continue.
The prodigal son of all radio stations is on the air. Talk Sport 2, because sport never stops.
There ain't no stopping them now.
Get set for more live sport, more incisive pundit comment and opinion, and more Andrew McKenna.
Thank you very much. That'll do.
Sport radio that hits you for 6. Talk Sport 2.
Ball into a ball and he's ball him. He's dragged it back onto the stumps.
Hard tackling live Super League action.
Strong and hard and made of steel.
Live commentary of the UEFA Champions League.
Champions of Europe again.
Live Aviva Premiership Rugby.
They must surely score.
Golf coverage that's perfectly pitched.
We're not allowed to cry on radio. We're supposed to be tough.
Serving up live ATP Masters Series tennis.
And Andy Murray, with his head in his hands, goes to congratulate Novak Djokovic.
I'm so happy. Talk Sport 2. Live international football.
What a goal!
Get in the ring. Go the distance. Talk Sport 2.
And Fury's got it. A unanimous decision.
If you can kick it,
Hit it.
roll it,
Pass it.
hot it, hot it, or catch it. You'll find it right here on Talk Sport 2. The prodigal son of all radio stations is on the air.
Can they make it too?
Talk Sport 2, because sport never stops. We're sorry, this commentary is not available in your country. Please visit talksport.com/commentaries to hear an alternative stream or listen to TalkSport 2 for even more live sport. TalkSport has so much sport, we're running out of radio to play it. In fact, we've got enough rugby, cricket, horse racing, boxing, motor racing and golf for an entire other radio station.
And the thrilling games continue.
The prodigal son of all radio stations is on the air. Talk Sport 2, because sport never stops.
There ain't no stopping them now.
Get set for more live sport, more incisive pundit comment and opinion, and more Andrew McKenna.
Thank you very much. That'll do.
Sport radio that hits you for 6. Talk Sport 2.
Goal into a ball and he's got him. He's dragged it back onto the stumps.
Hard tackling live. Super League action.
Strong and hard and made of steel.
Live commentary of the UEFA Champions League.
Champions of Europe again.
Live Aviva Premiership Rugby.
They must surely score.
Golf coverage that's perfectly pitched.
We're not allowed to cry on radio. We're supposed to be tough.
Serving up live ATP Masters Series tennis.
And Andy Murray, with his head in his hands, goes to congratulate Novak Djokovic.
I'm so happy. Talk Sport 2. Live international football.
What a goal!
Get in the ring. Go the distance. Talk Sport 2.
And Fury's got it. A unanimous decision.
If you can kick it, hit it, bowl it,
Pass it.
hot it, hot it, or catch it. You'll find it right here on Talk Sport 2. The prodigal son of all radio stations is on the air.
Can they make it too?
Talk Sport 2, because sport never stops. For an entire other radio station.
And the thrilling games continue.
The prodigal son of all radio stations is on the air. Talk Sport 2, because sport never stops.
Ain't no stopping them now.
Get set for more live sport, more incisive pundit comment and opinion, and more Andrew McKenna.
Thank you very much. That'll do.
Sport radio that hits you for 6. Talk Sport 2.
Goal into a ball and he's got him. He's dragged it back onto the stumps.
Hard tackling live. Super League action.
Strong and hard and made of steel.
Live commentary of the UEFA Champions League.
Champions of Europe again.
Live Aviva Premiership Rugby.
They must surely score.
Golf coverage that's perfectly pitched.
We're not allowed to cry on radio. We're supposed to be tough.
Serving up live ATP Masters Series tennis.
And Andy Murray, his head in his hands, goes to congratulate Novak Djokovic.
So about Talk Sport 2. Live international football.
What a goal!
Get in the ring. Go the distance. Talk Sport 2.
And Fury's got it. A unanimous decision.
If you can kick it, hit it, bowl it, pass it, hot it, hot it, or catch it. You'll find it right here on Talk Sport 2. The prodigal son of all radio stations is on the air.
Can they make it too?
Talk Sport 2, because sport never stops. We're sorry, this commentary is not available in your country. Please visit talksport.com/commentaries to hear an alternative stream or listen to TalkSport 2 for even more live sport. Talk Sport has so much sport, we're running out of radio to play it. In fact, we've got enough rugby, cricket, horse racing, boxing, motor racing and golf for an entire other radio station.
And the thrilling games continue.
The prodigal son of all radio stations is on the air. Talk Sport 2, because sport never stops.
There ain't no stopping them now.
Get set for more live sport, more incisive pundit comment and opinion, and more Andrew McKenna.
Thank you very much. That'll do.
Sport radio that hits you for 6. Talk Sport 2.
Oh, that's a ball, and he's bowled him. He's dragged it back onto the stumps.
Hard tackling live. Super League action.
Strong and hard and made of steel.
Live commentary of the UEFA Champions League.
Champions of Europe again.
Live Aviva Premiership Rugby.
They must surely score.
Golf coverage that's perfectly pitched.
We're not allowed to cry on radio. We're supposed to be tough.
Serving up live ATP Masters Series tennis.
And Andy Murray with his head in his hands goes to victory.
He will be there Monday and Tuesday as well.
I don't know who's luckier, Jeff Stelling or TalkSport to have each other. It's a great match.
It was a really great show on Monday and Tuesday as well. It was a really good listen. Looking forward to it again on that. And you know what? I know it sounds a bit cheesy, but when someone like Jeff joins the station and takes over the breakfast show, you do get up, especially in the morning, to listen to it, and that's what happened.
I get up anyway at 6 o'clock, and I told him I'd be listening, and it was brilliant.
Here's Gahey picking the ball up in the central midfield position. He's progressed forward. He's played it out to the wide right position. Crystal Palace come forward with Ayew. A ball into the box, which is not great. Kansar deals with it, and it's turned away by Salah. And then as Gravenberch tries to escape, he just stops because he knows he was pulled back, and that's going to be a free kick. But that was a good opportunity, and it came about because they committed an extra man forward. Gahey taking matters into his own hands.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they have got to be so careful, because we saw with the corner that they had how quickly Liverpool can counter-attack, and would have looked very dangerous if Salah had just got past Joel Ward. But, you know, it's about picking your right moments. Can you try and create something without making yourself vulnerable at the back? Not easy to do against this Liverpool side.
0-0, Crystal Palace and Liverpool live on Talk Sport. And over on TalkSport 2 at this moment in time, it's Blackburn against Leeds United. It's still goalless after 20 minutes there, and goalless between Sunderland and West Bromwich Albion as well. And at half-time in the WSL, it's Manchester City 0, Aston Villa 1. You're up to date on TalkSport. And later on, we're around the grounds with Adrian Durham at 2:30. Here's Alisson, back from injury, fizzing the ball forward towards Tsimikas, who was coming back from an offside position. The flag is up, and it's out over on the far side. I don't think we should be expecting too many goals from Crystal Palace today. They're second only to Sheffield United on the goal-shy front. They've scored 14, the Blades 11. And apparently they've abandoned their plans to splash out on a striker in January because of that severe injury to Doucouré. It was fascinating listening to Jurgen Klopp yesterday. He was talking about his centre-half problems because he looks as if he's lost Joel Matip till at least the end of the season. He did say he expected Liverpool to extend his contract and do the classy thing by a year because they didn't want it to be a closing of the door. But he said it wasn't up to him. It would be something that would be discussed between the player and the club.
Well, I have to say that's a classy thing from Jurgen Klopp to say that and put a little bit of pressure on the hierarchy. And I think it is right, because he's going to be out. He's going to need to be training with somebody, and just to have that kind of almost security of knowing you've got another year, I think would be a really classy act.
The point being, the reason I brought that up is because he said you can't just go out and buy a replacement in January. It doesn't work like that. Here is Schlupp down the left-hand side, slipping as he receives the ball, but manages to deflect it off Trent Alexander-Arnold as he did so, and it runs out of play and away for the second corner for Crystal Palace of the afternoon. And from the last one, you might remember, Liverpool almost got in on the counter-attack, so they might want to keep someone a little bit further back this time.
Absolutely. If the orders aren't coming from Roy from the bench, and I'm sure they will already on the pitch from the senior players. So, yes, get the ball in the box, try and put Liverpool under pressure, but ring the box as well very well.
Crystal Palace 0, Liverpool 0. 23 gone on TalkSport, and the corner will come in from the left-hand side from Will Hughes. It's an outswinger towards the far post. Anderson rises and heads the ball once. Van Dijk gets up and heads it away into a left-back position where Alexander-Arnold, with his left foot, produces a brilliant ball over the top for Luis Diaz to chase. He just didn't quite have the height to get above Joel Ward and get the ball under control. And then as it goes back the other way over the halfway line, on the right side of the defence, Kansar will see it back to his goalkeeper, Alisson. Not much in terms of goal-mouth opportunity to discuss so far in this game. It remains 0-0, and I haven't looked at the statistics, but I'm going to suggest there hasn't been a single shot on target.
Not one shot on target, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, not surprised. 0-0 so far in the game here on TalkSport. Here is Tsimikas trying to get away from Anderson. Anderson just dragged him down there, got a little bit too close to him, and committed a foul. It's going to be a free kick 6 yards inside opposition territory for Liverpool, who Virgil van Dijk tried to get it moving, but the referee said that it was already in motion when he tried to play it. Here come Liverpool in those green and white quartered jerseys out towards the near side, towards Darwin Núñez. I will say, one of the great things about that new Liverpool away kit is the fact that it has a nice white patch on the back for the names and the numbers, which is always good.
Yeah, absolutely. My eyes are not great, so it is good in that sense. It doesn't look like Liverpool, though, does it, that shirt?
I always associate green with Liverpool, though, don't you? Like from the 90s, when the sort of candy kit, do you remember that?
Yeah, no, I do remember. I remember the kits in the 70s.
They've had a few little green kits as well, haven't they? Yeah, usually their away kit was white or yellow. Alisson's just come up to the halfway line with the ball and almost got dispossessed. Everyone was sort of almost just allowing him to do what he wanted with it. And then at the last minute, someone decided maybe they should engage. And then he thought, well, actually, I should distribute it now. And eventually, he sends the ball forward upfield. There's a bit of a collision between Wataru Endo and Edson Odward on the... Hodgson Edward, not Edson Odward, on the halfway line, and that's going to be a free kick to Crystal Palace, 0-0.
I'll tell you what, though, Sam, we've seen Alisson make mistakes, haven't we, this season on several occasions, and sometimes it can just be a little bit too easy for him, you know, to become a little bit complacent. Who knows, maybe that's the way that Palace can do it, just let them feel they can pass when they want and then pounce at the same time.
Now, Palace at this moment in time look defensively a little bit more rigid than they have done over recent football matches. Ward sending the ball high into the air towards the left. Richards heads it down. It's missed by Salah and tidied up by Jefferson Lerma. And then Klein will see it all the way back to his goalkeeper in bright orange today, in Sam Johnston, who swishes the ball out to the wide right. It's going to go out of play and into the Arthur Waite stand over on the far side. That's where the Liverpool fans are housed. I know that there was quite a few Liverpool fans who found it very difficult to get down to South London today because of transport issues. I must admit, I had a train booked from Manchester today, and I didn't trust it because of the issues that have been happening on the public transport network. And I know that there was a train of Liverpool fans who got stuck in Tamworth, I think, and I don't know whether they've made it or not, but I hope they haven't. If they're listening to TalkSport, we're sorry that you haven't made it, but thanks for listening to us. I abandoned the train this morning and got the car because I just thought it was a little bit too ifty. And I know that a lot of fans are unhappy about having to make the journey at this time of year. Here is Ayew over the halfway line, bursting down the right-hand side. He moves up towards the edge of the area. A low cross towards the far post. Jefferson Lerma with an effort. He hits the post after an Alisson save, and somehow he scrambles it away at the second attempt. It's a brilliant double save from Alisson, but how has Lerma missed? It's a great chance for Crystal Palace. They should be ahead.
It's a brilliant chance. It's the biggest chance of the game so far. Of that, there's no doubt. And it was. Ayew down the right-hand side. A great ball in.
C'è un luogo dove puoi truccarti, truccarti e truccarti per andare dove il tuo corpo desidera portarti. Il calore dell'estate ti conquisterà per il clima e l'umanità.
Trent, who has sort of gone wide as well, so therefore Liverpool almost defending just with their two centre-halves. It's a really good run from Lerma, who, you're right, hit the post midweek and I think was Palace's best player. He's used his right foot, so he's opened up his body, which then almost brings it back towards where it came from, which helps Alisson out, because if it had waited for it to come onto his left foot and then just let it come off that left foot into the bottom corner, Alisson would have had no chance. He should have used his left foot, but it's still a wonderful save.
Play on, says the referee, as they win the ball high up again. Here's Edward into the penalty. He's tackled by Van Dijk. That's a penalty for Crystal Palace. Van Dijk from behind gets a yellow card after the ball was won in midfield, sloppily given away by Liverpool. They pinched it, Will Hughes pushed it forward, and then racing through on goal, Edward was going through him behind the defence. Van Dijk followed him in. Now, was there a foul by Will Hughes on Endo prior to that foul by Van Dijk? The VAR will look at it because it happened in the build-up. And how much contact was there really from Van Dijk on Edouard.
No, I think there is contact there, or he's put his foot there, and Edouard there went into Van Dijk, but because his foot was there, he has made contact and therefore gone down.
Okay, so the next question is, did he make any attempt to play the ball? Because if he doesn't make an attempt to play the ball there, or he doesn't get anywhere, or he's not likely to get hold of the ball, it could end up being a red card.
I think he's made enough of an attempt for the ball there. The question for me actually now is the foul from Will Hughes.
Yes,
I do think it was a foul.
VAR are checking that initially. Was it a foul by Will Hughes on Endo? Possible attacking foul in the build-up to it is what they are initially checking. Is that clear and obvious? The referee was right behind it. Is there something there that he has missed? Because he saw it and he waved play on. He demonstrably said play on.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm all for referees and sticking with their on-field decisions, but for me, this is a wrong decision, and it is clear and obvious. He's got his left arm round his left hip.
It does look like a foul.
He's got his right leg round his right leg as well. I don't see what other part of the body he could have got round Endo, to be honest with you. For me...
Yeah, he's overturned it.
It's a foul.
Yeah, he's given a free kick on the, well, he hasn't. He's gone over to see the monitor to decide whether or not he's going to overturn.
Well, we know what happens there, Sam,
yes,
surely.
I was probably jumping a step ahead, but I think it probably...
There's a part of me that would love the referee to say, no, do you know what, I'm going to stick with my decision.
Yeah.
But I just think, well, what he's about to see, he's come in...
Well, I think once he sees that, he's going to think, like we do, that's a foul.
Absolutely. He's come in from the back, he's not got any of the ball, he's put his left arm around Endo, and he's put his right leg around Endo's right leg as well. So for me, I think almost there's 2 or 3 fouls within that one
as well. And I think that Andy Madley's gone over to review the monitor over on the far side. Will only take a couple more seconds before coming out and telling us that that should be a free kick, but we wait and see. There has been in fact, I think the first ever incident of a referee being called to the monitor and actually saying, no, I'm sticking with my on-field decision, came out this ground at Selhurst Park a few years ago. So let's see whether or not he bucks the trend or whether he goes for it, because by the way, he's having a good old look.
He is. I don't think he wants to overturn it, because you're right, he was there, he was 10 yards away, he saw it, he felt it wasn't a foul. He's trying to justify now that his decision was right, but he has to overturn that.
Well, he's looking at the monitor. He's still looking at the monitor. He's surrounded by Crystal Palace fans, which is not a great place to have to make this decision. He's still listening to those who are advising him. The man in the VAR booth is John Brooks today. He'll be whispering into his ear, giving him his full recommendation. He's just about to go on the turn here and tell us what's happening. Andy Madley, he's walking away. He's doing the TV signal. No penalty, free kick just outside the penalty area.
Look, it's the right decision.
No yellow card for Virgil van Dijk, I take it?
No. What I don't like, which in this particular incident I think was fair enough, but I just don't think should happen generally, is that VAR are in his ear. So it's not even just to go and have a look and see what you think. I know that VAR are trying to explain why they've pulled him over in the first place, so they're trying to persuade him to overturn his decision. Listen, I'm in the minority, I know this. I am for VAR, but only if referees need it. They're in control of the situation, and actually in this particular incident, even though it had been wrong, if he genuinely thought that wasn't a foul in real time, I don't believe that should have been overturned, because he should have the power to go to VAR, not VAR call him.
What it should do is serve as a wake-up call to Liverpool, who have now been very close to conceding a penalty and giving away the best chance of the game.
Well, also conversely, what it does do, it gives Palace belief that they can get at this Liverpool side as well. So, look, we're over the half-an-hour mark. Liverpool haven't really created any chances for all the possession they've had. Palace have been the most dangerous.
Yep, and they're on the ball again on halfway. Gravenberg, he's been wired into by Richards. The ball's been sent over the top. Alexander-Arnold's going to get there ahead of Edouard. It goes back to Alisson, whose control actually is not the brightest. He just sort of miscontrolled that, and it goes out of play. And Liverpool do look a little bit unsettled here.
Don't forget there was that Lerma shot, wasn't there, where Alisson made the good save.
That's the best chance, yeah.
Absolutely.
Leeds lead by a goal to nil away from home against Blackburn. Daniel James with the goal. Ruter with the assist. They're on a good run at this moment of time, Leeds United. And they are in front away at Blackburn live on TalkSport 2. Looks like there could be an injury here away to our left-hand side. Hodgson Edouard, who is down on the left edge of the penalty area, just receiving a little bit of treatment. It's Crystal Palace 0, Liverpool 0, but there has been incidents on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs. Stretching out that Hodgson Edouard right leg. We're having another replay here of the Will Hughes incident. What do we reckon, having looked at it 27 times?
Again, you know,
you can look at those things so many times that you change your mind, can't you?
Yeah, you can. And also, you know, the referees, the psychology of being called over, and then you've got someone in your ear trying to explain why they've got it wrong. It takes a very strong referee to end up saying, no, do you know what, I'm going to stick with it. But for me, that was a clear and obvious area. But as I say, I hope I don't sound like I'm contradicting myself. I'm for VAR, but actually, I would want only the referee to go over if he genuinely wants to look at it himself, not being called over. So he's in control of VAR, not VAR in control of him.
Do you think it was clear and obvious enough for the referee to summon him?
For the VAR
to summon him?
Yes, I do. I do, because I think he's come in the back of him, he's not touched the ball, he's got his left arm around him and his right leg around him. I mean, I don't know what more part of the body you can have around someone, to be honest with you, without touching the ball.
Nunez with a foul on Anderson on the edge of the centre circle gives Crystal Palace a free kick. It's goalless and we've played 35 minutes, and Jurgen Klopp's not happy about that either. Jumping up and down in front of us, away to our left, and he's in rather animated mood today, the Liverpool manager, in a dark stadium jacket, puffer jacket with green trim. Here is the free kick by Ward, straight into the air. Oh, and Alisson's come and he's had it taken off his fingers by Virgil van Dijk, and it went into the air and he recovered to grab the second one.
Well, it wasn't the best of free kicks, but absolutely no communication from Alisson there. Clearly, he's got to be shouting really loud and get out the way.
Gravenberch over on the far side for Liverpool, coming forward. Remember, at this moment in time, Sam Johnson hasn't had to make a proper save yet, and it's still 0-0. The best chances have come for Crystal Palace. Jefferson Lerma's effort saved by Alisson, and then the penalty which was overturned after a review. Palace have won it again in midfield. Ward doing well, up to Hodgson Edouard, who's recovered, and Hughes finds Lerma, spreads the play to Schlupp. It was a bit too far away from him. He's disappointed with it, but he's got hold of the ball, and Klein's joining the attack down the left side into the penalty. Oh, there's no one in there. It's a brilliant ball. It tickled right the way through the box, and there was no one to finish it off. And then Joel Ward has just decided to bring down Luis Diaz. I think that was a tactical yellow card from Joel Ward, because he knew that Luis Diaz was on the escape, and it's a free kick 10 yards short of the halfway line over on the far touchline.
Yeah, absolutely was a very tactical foul, but I mean, how well are Palace playing compared to Liverpool at the moment? And I just feel they really should go for it just before half-time now. I can't believe Liverpool will be this bad in the second half and won't create chances, so now's the time to try and get that goal, which we do believe Liverpool will get one at some point.
Here is Gravenberch onto Szoboszlai, then out towards this right-hand side, and then into Salah. Salah getting the ball back on the edge of the area. He's been quiet so far. They usually find a way through Liverpool. They've scored in each of their last 32 games in all competitions.
Exactly.
Here is Szoboszlai in the centre of the Crystal Palace half. 38 on the clock on TalkSport. It's swished out to the left-hand side, taken down by Tsimikas. He moves it up towards the edge of the area, and then it goes into Diaz with his back to goal. Mentioned that Jeff Stelling will be back on breakfast. There is the phone-in tonight as well to have your say on all the day's action with Jamie O'Hara and Gabby Agbonlahor. 037172233 and 444. The first place to have your say on all the day's footballing action. Szoboszlai into Salah, and then left is Endo. And again, it's all very neat and tidy from Liverpool, but it's all 20 yards from the edge of the penalty area. They're being kept at arm's length by Crystal Palace at this moment in time, and that's down to structure. Here's the ball in towards the edge of the penalty area. Again, that amorphous blob comes together to repel any Liverpool attack. And I think it helps having Chris Richards, who is a central defender, in the middle of the park, dropping in when he needs to an even more defensive position.
I think it suits when you're playing a team like Liverpool. It doesn't suit when you're playing a team like Bournemouth, to be honest with you. But in terms of today, absolutely. And that blob, which I think we've got to use going forward now,
yeah,
it's exactly what they're doing. They're making themselves really compact in the middle, so they're wanting the ball to go out wide and saying, okay, try and hurt us from out wide. We know Liverpool want to play little 1-2s and one-touch passing to try and create something down the middle. They're not able to get through Palace.
I hate to tell you this, by the way. I don't like to be the bearer of bad news as Liverpool have a throw-in deep inside their own half. But I know that usually when you come to these games, you are the most good-looking man in the arena. But I have just seen Hugh Jackman in the director's box, so you've been downgraded.
Do you know what? You've made my day just saying that first bit. Don't worry about that.
Ball clear.
I love you too, Sam.
Ball cleared by Endo up towards the halfway line. It drops for Edouard, who then he sends it out wide to the right, and Jordan Ayew starts to skate down the touchline, turns and plays it back to the halfway line, and Joachim Andersen, and they've looked comfortable today, Crystal Palace, much better. And you know, sometimes, just sometimes, and I'm not saying no one knows how it's going to end, but sometimes a little bad run and a bit of angst and a bit of aggression and maybe the wrong word here and there that sparks a response actually can change the narrative a little bit and can fire you up to get a result.
Just ask Erik ten Hag. What happened in midweek? They stepped it up after apparently 50% not liking him. And it showed that all this stuff about playing for your manager and losing the dressing room, play for yourself.
Well, you've always had that. And if anyone's tuned into the Premier League All Access podcast, which Scott does with us every Thursday and Sunday, you'll know that he turns around and says, I've never played for a manager, I've only ever played for myself.
Never. Play for myself and play for the club. You know, your professional pride first and foremost, second of all the club, and obviously, which means the fans.
Kwanzaa, just short of the halfway line, switched out to the right side, and Mo Salah's dropped very deep. He's in the right fullback position here. The actual right fullback is in midfield. That's Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's pinged the ball out towards the left-hand side. Radar slightly off, and it's skipped off the turf and gone behind and away for a goal kick away to our right-hand side. And it remains Crystal Palace 0, Liverpool 0. Palace had a penalty given and then overturned by the VAR, John Brooks, in conjunction with the referee, Andy Madley. Jefferson Lerma's had the best chance of the game with a shot from 7 yards out, which I think when he looks back on it, he might think I should have done a little bit better with. Yeah, that would have been a moment to savour to get your first goal for the club, wouldn't it?
Well, you do think that Liverpool have to get better in this second half, and you just came out with a stat with 32 games in all competitions they've scored, so I'd be surprised if they don't. I just hope Palace don't regret the chance that while Liverpool were, you know, not very good, shall we say, that they weren't able to take advantage of that. That Lerma chance, wonderful chance, if it allowed it just to come across onto his left and then just side-footed it in. Alisson would have had no chance. By opening up the body and using the right foot, it's coming back almost where it came from, and it brought him back into the game.
Palace 0, Liverpool 0, live on TalkSport. And it's been a dank and dreary, wet day in South London. In fact, most of the country has been full of drizzle. But Palace have been brighter. Ball into the box by Hughes, looking for Hodgson Edouard at the back post, but it's away by Van Dijk, and then on the halfway line, Salah thumps it forward. Joel Ward will return it with interest. It goes out on the near touchline away for a throw, and they dealt with that breakaway. That is a problem, though, for them, I think. You know, every time that they've had a set piece going in an attacking direction, Crystal Palace, very quickly Liverpool got the ball away up to the halfway line. They've dealt with it on the last two occasions. On the first occasion, it looked a little bit scary. Nunez wins the ball well, turns, runs towards the edge of the penalty area, feeds Endo, who's immediately surrounded by Schlupp, takes a deflection, goes behind and away for a corner. But their defensive work has been excellent. The way they've tracked back and immediately surrounded those who have been attacking.
No, absolutely, and you know, we know Jefferson Lerma's been sort of pushing on when he possibly can, so it does give even more emphasis on Chris Richards to help protect the back four. He's been excellent, they've been excellent so far.
They do have a corner to defend here, and they did concede from a corner against Bournemouth, and I think they were disappointed about that. Tsimikas with the delivery, left-footed. I think that went out and then came back in again. That's going to be a goal kick.
It must be really windy out there, because if that went out, it landed on the penalty spot. Or just some whip from Tsimikas. But either way, that pretty much summed Liverpool up in the first half, wasn't it? Good chance to score.
Yeah, I haven't been down there for a little while, but it wasn't particularly blowy, but the corner flags aren't rippling, are they?
No, they're not.
They're all a little bit sort of static, aren't they?
He must have just put
he put some
so much
serious
whip on it.
swaz on that.
Absolutely. But you can't do that from a corner.
Cleared by Johnston up over the halfway line, forward by Quansah, and then nodded forward by Chris Richards. It's bouncing around on the halfway line, smuggled forward by Lerma. Endo's fighting for it. It drops in midfield. Hughes gets there first, bundles his way through, looks to try and feed Hodgson Edouard, but Quansah does well enough to block it. It breaks on the left for Simicast, who motors up to halfway. He feeds Luis Diaz, who flicks the ball up with his right foot just on the touchline and funnels the ball infield to Gravenberg, who then finds Nunez, edge of the area, and tries to play it to Luis Diaz, but it was all just a little bit too intricate, and maybe Nunez could have just taken one touch to set it and then hit it as he got to the edge of the box. He decided to try and feed his South American teammate, and as a result of that, it allowed Palace to get back and stop any further damage. We're approaching half-time and it's 0-0.
Yeah, just trying to be too perfect with the passes, and there was a good pass inside from Luis Diaz. And just as the ball came to Darwin Nunez, it was a little bit behind him. Fair play to Anderson, who made sure that he was always goal side, which meant that Nunez had to take it back away from him. And once that happened, the momentum just completely stopped. Again, really good defending from the two centre-halves.
Ball sent long and high by Johnston, and then Hughes felt that he was dispossessed illegally by Gravenberg, who's running away with the ball to the halfway line. Chris Richards, with a really good intervention, scoops the ball out to the far side. But it's been a really competitive first 45 minutes. I can't see the board, but I imagine they've told us how many minutes have been added on now. 4 or 5, I would have thought. Thomas Bramwell didn't show us the board, unfortunately. They have put it up. 5 minutes, yeah, I thought it would be something like that. Quansah takes the ball over halfway, then into Salah. Salah turns it round the corner into the right wing position for Szoboszlai, who finds Salah again. He moves towards the corner flag, then comes infield, gives it to Alexander-Arnold, who needs support. Szoboszlai provides that, tees up a pass down the right side. Alexander-Arnold with a cross to the edge of the box, comes to Salah, then to Szoboszlai, takes a deflection, goes behind, and out for another corner kick to Liverpool. But that was probably their most enterprising bit of play.
Absolutely, really good play down the right-hand side. Haven't seen much of Salah, haven't seen much of Trent, but both of those combined, really good cutback from Trent. I'll tell you what, that's a wonderful block from Will Hughes. He's made a couple of really good tackles further up the pitch, but that was really important.
He's made a lot this season, actually, Will Hughes. He's started 9 Premier League games already this campaign, more than last season. And he's done well today so far. Alexander-Arnold with a swirling out swinger towards the edge of the 6-yard box, away by Anderson, drops inside the box. Richards gets it further clear. It's out for a throw into Liverpool, midway inside the Palace half of the field, over on the left. I think that's a foul throw by Szoboszlai. And I think the Palace supporters did too, as Gravenberg skips his way into a tight knot in midfield. But the committed and tenacious Palace players win the ball back again, just short of the halfway line. We've played 2 of the 5 that have been added on at the end of the first half, and it's still goalless on TalkSport, and the only shot on target has come from Crystal Palace in the game. Alexander-Arnold from the near touchline, bright orange boots on, into Salah, who's been quiet. Back to Jarell Quansah, and then Van Dijk. Listening to Jurgen Klopp just before kick-off, actually, he did say, look, this is one of those games where you've just got to turn up, you've got to come here, do the job, get 3 points and go home.
Difficult place to come, especially after a midweek game as well. We know how Palace can be when they're playing well, and
Salah into Alexander-Arnold, and he's being harassed by Schlupp, who does well. Hounds him enough to deflect the ball off him and goes out of play and away for a throw-in on this near side to Crystal Palace, the home team.
You know, it's a great defensive performance from Palace, but that doesn't mean that the back 4, it's just them, have been, you know, really good. Richards has protected them really well. Schlupp's come back and helped. Will Hughes has made some really important tackles and not given the midfield any time at all on the ball. And as you say, that blob of red and blue, just not been able to get through them at the moment. They're going to have to go to plan B. For me, that would be get the ball wide. Certainly get Trent more on the ball.
Jurgen Klopp, who's standing with his hands behind his back, looking on pensively as we approach the half-time whistle. Here is Luis Diaz, who wanders into midfield, then sprays the ball out towards the right. Alexander-Arnold brings it down, but Klein is equal to it. Manages to stop it from going any further forward, and then misfires his volley clearance. Breaks for Alexander-Arnold. Wataru Endo has it again. Infield he goes. Virgil van Dijk takes over. Centre circle. Alexander-Arnold is wide right. He, at walking pace, plays it into midfield and Endo. Szoboszlai, and now Alexander-Arnold wandering into a more central position, plays the ball first time. It's not accurate at all, and it goes straight out of play. They just look a little bit wobbly, Liverpool.
Do you know what? It's just almost just too casual. They're not playing with the intensity that they need to break down this very resolute Palace side. It's a very different Palace side from what we saw in midweek, but that's because the pressure's not on them by the fans to actually break a Bournemouth side down. They realise they're up against Liverpool. Liverpool aren't able to break them down, and it's a simple pass for an incredibly talented player. Too casual.
0-0. This is Talk Sport, and the ball's on halfway with Will Hughes. He's committed a foul, so Liverpool have a free kick. It's quickly taken by Szoboszlai and sent towards the Liverpool left and the feet of the Dutch international Ryan Gravenberch. Back it goes towards the right, and Alexander-Arnold on to Luis Diaz. Diaz nudges it into Salah's path. He's running down by the corner flag now. We've nearly played our 5 minutes of added time. Alexander-Arnold, Gravenberch into the box. Nunez just half cleared by Joachim Anderson, and then it goes out of the box and the half-time whistle does blow. Well, Crystal Palace's only home win this season came against Wolves in September, but there is potential of a second. Jefferson Lerma has had the best and only real chance of the first 45 minutes. They also had a penalty that was overturned for a foul outside the box, which the referee spotted, said play on, and then was asked to review it by John Brooks, the VAR, and it was overturned. At this juncture, they are preventing Liverpool from going top of the Premier League. At half-time, it's Crystal Palace 0, Liverpool 0.
Look, with the greatest showman, Hugh Jackman, in the director's box, it certainly hasn't been the greatest show for him to watch. Just the one shot on target, but drama nonetheless, Scott. And Crystal Palace have put in a far better performance than we saw on Wednesday night.
No, absolutely, and I'm not surprised. They're playing against a team that is going for the title, that can go top, albeit for a couple of hours. So they'll be mentally really, really up for this. And that's not to say that they weren't against Bournemouth, but there's something about playing Liverpool at home with the fans expecting, but not necessarily expecting you to be all over them. They're up for this, Palace, there's no doubt about it. And Liverpool, I expected the first 15 minutes to be a little bit offish, but worry for Palace is they haven't taken advantage of Liverpool when they've been at the worst, because I cannot believe that Liverpool will play like that in the second half. There's been no intensity, no crispness of passing, and it's been too easy for Palace to get that blob in front of them all the time.
I can give you a second reason to worry, because Hodgson Edouard has just hobbled his way off the pitch. He took a heavy clunk on about 30 minutes, and they checked on him, and he's played on, but he looked really ginger when he walked off just then. Ray Lewington checked on him, as did Roy Hodgson as well. So fingers crossed the physios can take a look at him and he can come out in the second half, because the last thing on earth Crystal Palace need is yet another casualty on their injury list. Now, we talked about the pragmatism of Roy Hodgson leading into this game, and that could be perceived as negative, but actually his game plan has worked perfectly so far. They're still in this.
No, they are, but you know, if you look at the stats in terms of possession, it's 23% possession. Now, against Liverpool, you accept that. Against a Bournemouth side, again, I keep on using them as an example because they're the last team they played, you wouldn't accept that. So it's horses for courses, and in this particular instance, for this first half that we're seeing, it's absolutely tactics spot on, and the players are executing it perfectly. They should be a goal ahead. You know, that chance for Jefferson Lerma, and you have to give him credit for getting there in the first place and hitting the target, but if it had just let that run onto his left foot, then I don't think he'd given Alisson any chance whatsoever. I go back to the fact that you take advantage when teams aren't playing well, the big boys, you have to somehow score. Sam came out with a stat of 32 games they've scored over the last 32 matches. They will score at some point in the second half. I do believe Palace need a goal at some point.
Yep, they certainly do. We'll discuss that VAR disallowed penalty decision later on as well. But this is Game Day exclusive on TalkSport. Goalless at the break. Crystal Palace 0, Liverpool 0. The home side on top of this early kickoff at Selhurst Park, having hit the post and had a penalty decision overturned. But who will break the deadlock? Second half action coming next.
Game Day exclusive on TalkSport with Now. Stream all the Sky Sports action like Aston Villa versus Arsenal live today for $11.99, no contract. Search Now Sports, 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
In sport, what's just as important as the goals, the glory, the roar of the crowd? Yes, it's the half-time break. Time for a breather, a reset to keep everything on track. In sports betting, Betfair's safer gambling tools help you do that too. Like timeouts, so you take that all-important half-time break. Or deposit limits, to help you keep count. Manage your play at safergambling.betfair.com. Simple ways to stay on top of your game with Betfair.
18 plus begambleaware.org.
Your van heater is not the only thing that's hot right now. Screwfix hot deals are on and you can save big. Buy any Flowmaster single panel radiator and get the Danfoss TRV for just $9.99, saving you £15. Plus, everyone loves a Henry vacuum and the XL is now just $149.99. That's a saving of £20. Shop hot deals now on the app at screwfix.com or in store. Price is valid until at least 7th of January, subject to availability. For full T's and C's, see screwfix.com.
Y'all ready for something new? Oh, you thought it was just burgers and fries. They got more flavors than you tasted or you heard in your life. Yummy. And it ain't only restaurants anymore. We can go bananas at the grocery store. I'm a bad girl, but my takeout better. What you need, dude? I could cop a taco platter. And my sushi train is on loop. When you're this slick, what you gon' do? Did somebody say just eat?
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Watching the big game, cozied up in the snug.
Another 7-0 win!
Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing real-life football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of June 2022 and 30th of September 2022 is under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
You'll only remember that sound if you're from the 90s, a time when the World Wide Web was still taking off. Dial-up was the thing, and McDonald's started cracking only free-range eggs, fresh every day, to use in all our McMuffins. It's just one of the little changes McDonald's have been constantly making to the way we source our food over the years. McDonald's. Change a little, change a lot.
Game day exclusive on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Rent from the best lineup in the UK. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs.
Feel the passion and the pride of the Premier League.
Oh, it's a stunning goal!
Game day exclusive
On TalkSport.
The TalkSport Sports Bar, the radio speakeasy for aficionados of sport. Sometimes you want to go where Jason Conde knows your name.
Thanks, Glenn.
Glenn, go on, Glenn boy.
And no horrors glad you came.
Mike, thanks for your call.
You want to moan when you're on the phone that the referee's to blame. You want to be where everybody loves the game. The Sports Bar opens Monday to Thursday nights from 10 on TalkSport.
This is Game Day exclusive on TalkSport. I'm Faye Carruthers. It's Crystal Palace 0, Liverpool 0 in our lunchtime kickoff here at Selhurst Park. So much live football to bring you throughout the day. Over on TalkSport 2, it's Blackburn 0, Leeds United 1 at half-time. And Sunderland 0, West Brom 0 in the Sky Bet Championship. But Joe Bellingham incorrectly had a goal ruled out for offside for Sunderland. So Sunderland will be wanting a bit of revenge in that second half. There's plenty of cricket as well today. Here across the TalkSport network, England's men's cricket team in action this evening, live on TalkSport 2. They're in Barbados for the third ODI against the West Indies. Commentary there starts at 5:30. Meanwhile, England's women's team are in India for the second of 3 T20 matches. It gets underway at 1:30 UK time. And watching for TalkSport is Georgie Heath.
Hello to you. England women have won the toss and they're going to have a bowl. They dominated that first game after an early wobble, winning by 38 runs. So they win today. They win the T20 series. There's a test match to come up after this, but this is two titans of the women's game taking each other on as we build up to the World Cup in Bangladesh next year. So England take this. That is a really big marker set down by the former world champions, looking to improve their lot that they lost to Sri Lanka earlier in the series. But they win today. They win the series. Big one coming up. England win the toss and have a bowl first.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Georgie. Let's continue to look ahead to this weekend's Premier League action with Super 6.
The TalkSport Match Predictor with Super 6. Play for free.